in the day or night. She had the lights on, lights off. The man was always inside or outside. So basically, she was living, well, he was living with her in the same house. So he obviously had to find some places to hide. So he slept in the vents. He always stayed in the drawers. Yeah, he slept in the vents. Those are big enough. When she was asleep, he would always go and eat. He would do everything. He would take showers when she was not home. So eventually, the woman started to know that some food was being gone, electricity bills were going up, there's no hot water or something. Anyway, eventually, she started to put up cameras, trying to find out what was going on. So the man eventually he came out of the vents. He came out of where he was hiding, and eventually he was caught. She knew where to find him, and she didn't want to call the police. She wanted to deal with this herself. So she grabbed a knife. She went and found the man.
Okay.
This is well, okay. So not yet. Not yet. Basically, the man he didn't want to kill most humans. So she's like, "Get out of my house, or else I will hurt you. I don't want to see you ever again." And basically, all right, now you can go for it. They were in the kitchen, by the way. She said this. He turned on the burner.
Oh, God. I actually drooled on the table.
As long as it wasn't in the glitter, then we'll have a new form.
And the man ran away.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I can't go out through there, but
It went somewhere. And my face is burned.
you can sit down now. I don't need you again. Now, the woman had been stabbed a few times by the man since he took the knife, and she didn't live. She bled out. The police didn't find her until a week later, until they found out what the actual cause of death was. They saw the camera, film, and everything, what happened. However, the man somehow didn't get caught. He got up scot-free. Basically, they couldn't find out who he was. So, eventually, he died of a mysterious cause. Nobody knows how he died. But there are legends. However, I don't know if it's from this story. I just made this up. That there's a woman in Japan. Weeaboos? Just kidding. That there is a woman who covers up her face and walks up to people and says, "Am I pretty?" And if you say no, then she's likely to kill you. If you don't say anything, then she's also likely to kill you. I have no idea what happens if you say yes. Just say
She
yes.
makes you look like her.
So, if that ever happens, just either run away or say yes, please. Say no. People still report this happening today. However, people don't like to go public with it because it happens so often. They cannot find it. Dang it. But so far, this is what people document. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yes.
Did he ever walk up to her and go, "You smell different when you're awake"?
Oh, God.
No, not.
Well, you guys have never had creepers before. You're at a convention. It will happen.
You smell different when you're awake.
You ready? Come on up.
Oh, dude.
Yes. Yes, I
テスト、皆さんはじめまして。Hello. Alright, this one is my oldest and fondest and strangest memory. There is, in West Virginia, in the Little Hills, one in particular that has a special place in my heart. I always visit it in the summer when the weather is perfect. It's surrounded by wild berries that when I was younger I would just eat by the handful. So I would always come back with just red and purple rubbed all in my face like the happy little kid I was. There's a distant relative who lives in a tiny shack of a house on this hill, and it's not like shabby or anything. It's quaint and it's cute, and the whole aura of this place just reminds you of a time when things were simpler. And this is a place where a lot of my family originates from. It's where we go every year for our family reunions and where people catch up. Every time I would visit, usually when my face was stuffed with these berries, I would be surrounded by family relatives, people that I never see outside of West Virginia. And they're always like, "You're Frank's kid. You look just like your mother. How are you getting along with your siblings?" And I always remember especially my grandfather, who always said the sweetest things, never got too intrusive, but always said things like, "You're going to be just as beautiful as your mother, and you're going to be strong like my boy, you'll see." Later on in life, kindergarten, we have a day where we talk about our grandparents and our family, and I talk very proudly about my super awesome grandfather. That day on the ride home from school, I say, "I miss Grandpa." My father said, "I'm surprised you could miss him. He died when you were a baby." That hill is my family's graveyard.
Okay. Are you ready? Okay, she's looking. Okay. Want to come up? It should already be. Yeah.
Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right. So, in Victorian era England, it was not yet common for women to wear chokers or necklaces, simply because decorating your décolletage was considered something that only prostitutes did. But a young man became smitten with a young woman named Catherine, and she was the pinnacle of Victorian beauty: clear skin, gently pinched cheeks, a flowing, beautiful bustle. And so he decides to court her. He notices one of the first things about her is that she always wears a black satin ribbon tied around her neck. Her neck is beautiful, just like the rest of her, smooth, clear of every imperfection. But that black satin ribbon disrupts the entire flow. It's like an anomaly in an otherwise perfect, smooth pool. But this doesn't bother him. He thinks it's just one of her quirks. So they marry. They're extremely happy. And as their relationship goes on, he says, "Catherine, why don't you ever remove your ribbon?" And she says, "Dear, don't ask. It's fine. Just don't remove the ribbon." All right. It's the first time they've ever had this conversation. He didn't feel the need to ask before. So they go on about their lives. But as the months pass, the man notices that when he leans in to kiss his beautiful wife, the ribbon will move. And it feels whenever they are intimate or any kind of close contact, the ribbon seems to inch closer to his own throat. And it bothers him. They have arguments. But every time they end in his beautiful wife somehow convincing him, "Don't touch the ribbon." They eventually have a child, and their child never thinks to ask their mother, "Mommy, why do you have a ribbon around your throat?" But the man does. Eventually, the stress of the child becomes too much, and he starts yelling at his wife, "Why don't you ever take that thing off? It's killing me." And she says, "Don't remove the ribbon." And it's the first time she's ever yelled at him. This quiets him. It makes him obedient. So he never asks about it again. But one night he's laying wide awake and staring at his wife's beautiful neck, interrupted by this single damn ribbon. There's no clasp to it. So he finds a pair of her sewing scissors and slides them just underneath that gap where ribbon meets skin. And it takes only a few snips. Snip, snip, snip. And the ribbon comes off. And so does his wife's head. It rolls perfectly onto the floor, and her voice repeating in an eternal monotone, "Don't remove the ribbon."
Does anyone else have a story? Okay.
It's an idea, but I don't think it's going to work.
Okay, then I have a question. Are you guys okay with going to a somewhat funny story for a second?
Sure.
Okay, then I need 2 volunteers. I need one person who is a terrible dancer.
Me.
Okay, we'll go with you. You haven't gotten that yet. And I need someone who is a good dancer. Or then you'll do. I'll have you just sit here and you over here too, because I'll call you guys up for them.
This is going to be...
For the record, where am I? Wherever you wish, I'll just call you up. That way it's a little bit easier to get here. For the record, I always love it whenever people do Running Man. So once upon a time, they remembered. I'm so proud of you. There was a man who had worked all of his life and somehow managed to get a wonderful, beautiful woman who had rainbow hair. For no apparent reason. He married her and he was so desperately in love with her. Now, she only really tolerated him. You see, even though she was a great beauty and she was very proud of herself. Honey, can you be proud of yourself?
Yes.
I am so proud. You see, while she was a stunning beauty, he had one somewhat huge deformity. You see, on the right side of his face sat a goiter. Now, he had tried everything he could do throughout the years to make it go away. At one point, he even tried cutting it off, but the thing just got bigger and bigger and began to sag more and more, dragging his face down. Now, his wife, the tolerant woman that she was, would only ever pay attention to his left side, always ignoring his right. But it angered her. She was so beautiful, and he was so... ugh. Well, the man just resigned himself to his fate. Nothing had worked. Nothing was ever going to. So one morning he got up, stretched, put on his pack, and began to go up into the hills to cut bamboo, which he would then make into wares to sell in town. So he went further and further into the mountains, cutting, putting on his back, cutting, putting on his back. It was such a beautiful day, he didn't even realize how far away from home he had gone. And he was so enchanted by all that he was seeing, he didn't pay attention to the fact that the sky was getting slightly darker as he went along. Then he started to feel drip, drip, drip. At first it was just a little bit of rainfall, but then it became a torrential downpour, the kind that he didn't know he would be able to survive. But he had to get out of the water, he had to do something, and somehow he was able to find a tree that had been struck by lightning, and the hole was just large enough for him to crawl inside and get out of the water. So he took off his pack, lowers himself inside, pulled the pack in, and he waited for the rain to pass. He waited for hours, and he wasn't certain what would happen. But just as the rain started to let up, he began to have hope again. He would be able to come home. But as he looked out, the water was still quite high. He would have to wait for it to pass. So he waited for several more hours. And as he was waiting, he began to hear steps coming closer to him. And he got so excited. He was very happy. His friends were coming for him, maybe even his wife. No, she wouldn't bother coming to him. She was probably hoping he was gone. But as he heard the steps, he got excited and he looked out. Rather than his friends, he saw a horde of demons coming towards him. Some of them had horns that were long and things that he had never seen, noses that were strangely shaped, claws that were, oh God, is that blood? He hid back inside the tree, hoping they would pass, and the steps went clip, clip, clip. But it seemed that they all stopped on the other side of the tree. He was so afraid he didn't dare get out until they started hearing. The demons were playing music. The demons were laughing. They were having fun. Even more than that, they were dancing. The man was so enchanted by this, he didn't even think. He stepped outside the tree and he started to watch. Now, he was so excited that whenever one demon started to dance, this man knew himself to be a good dancer. Where's my good dancer? He got up and he started to dance. Everybody! That was beautiful! And it was so great that the king of the demons, who was sitting there, you're good. You're really good, I like you. He's sitting there drinking from the sake cup, and he decides he likes this man. He wants him to come dance with him again. Now the man, of course, doesn't really want much to do with demons, but he is so surprised that he's actually alive. After all, he got out in front of a band of demons and he hasn't been killed yet. That's unheard of. So he's just happy to be alive. But the king of the demons decides, we're going to come back. You're going to dance with us again. The man was scared, but the demon ends up talking to his brother. Everyone knows that humans can't be trusted. They're dirty liars. They never do anything they say they're going to do. So they talk back and forth. How are they going to get him? They decide that the only way to get him to come back is to take something that any demon, any human would certainly be proud of. They reach up and they pluck the goiter from his face, tuck it in their sleeve and say, if you want this back, then you'll return tomorrow night. The man reaches out to his left cheek. It's as smooth as it ever was, but when he reaches up to his right, for the first time in his life, he feels a cheek, a normal cheek. And he's so happy he runs home to his wife. And at first she doesn't recognize him, but she thinks he's kind of cute, so she gives him a kiss anyway. And they are just so happy together. Except for the neighbor next door. He was jealous. There was something wrong. You see, the original man had one on his right cheek, but the neighbor had one on his left. He even tried going to have it blessed down with gold, but nothing worked. So he went up to the man, begging him, please, just tell me, how did you make it go away? And the man doesn't want to tell him. No one wants to admit that they've been around demons. After all, maybe he'd been cursed himself. The neighbor keeps begging so much But finally he concedes and tells her. The very next day, the neighbor gets up, goes into the mountains. He hides in the trees. He waits for the step, 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 step. And finally it stops. He starts hearing music. As soon as this happens, he gets so excited he rushes out of the tree and starts dancing. Now there's a problem with this though. He didn't know how to dance, but he didn't think that mattered. After all, demons don't really care. So when he jumped out, he started dancing, but it was something awful. That's such a bad dance.
If I can't dance, it's against my religion.
That works. The demons are absolutely appalled. What happened? You were so good yesterday. Of course, they didn't even notice it was a different person. After all humans look alike. So the demon reaches into his sleeve, pulls out the goiter, throws it on the man's face, and says, "Take it, never come back." So the man reaches up to his left cheek. There was goiter there like always. And reached up to his right. Well, needless to say, at least now he balanced out. So what do you learn from this story?
Don't trust demons.
Don't trust demons. Also, take dance lessons. This could save your life.
Don't hide in trees.
Don't hide in trees. That would take care of a lot of grim
Actually,
stories.
oh my god. Don't recognize the weather.
Recognize the weather. That is also a good one. But don't trust the weathermen because I don't think they know any better than us. Who's brave enough to tell the next story? Is that like a finger or? I don't know what's going on. Yes, get up here.
This is-
It's okay if you sit down. Do you need the mic? I don't know. You guys hear me?
Yeah.
There you go. She has the power.
The microphone.
Okay, so here's how my story starts. It's oh no, that's okay.
No, try it. It's really fun.
So here's how my story starts. It's about a little girl, and she's at the age where she's starting to understand things. Well, one night she suddenly starts having bad dreams, and it eventually continues for the whole week. And she tells her mother, "Mom, I keep having these bad dreams. I'm being chased in the dark." And her mother, "Oh, it's okay. It'll be gone tomorrow." She has that same dream again. So this time her mother says, "Pray, and God will show you a different dream maybe." So for the first time, the little girl decided to pray. But on that night, something was different. She woke up. And as she woke up, she heard something sliding on the carpet. And as she got up from her bed, she walked closer and she heard her open the door. So as she goes to the door, she sees that it's slightly cracked open. And so she keeps looking at it. The door had slightly opened again. It closes, but not to where it'll click. It does it continuously. She reaches her hand up. She opens the door wide. What do you guys think happened?
If there's anything that scary movies have taught me, it's that you trip your friend before. That might help you live. Does anyone else have a story?
Well, I've got an idea, but I don't really know.
Just wing it.
Wing it.
Wing it, wing it, wing
Um,
it.
Great.
Haha, peer pressure.
This might not turn out to be scary. It might just turn out to be Kings of Elizabeth, and since that's M. Night Shyamalan, sorry.
We'll call you M. Night Shyamalan.
Is this on?
Or
Is this-
every
It is.
anime ever.
Okay, it's on, right?
Yes.
Good. Can everyone hear me fine?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, I'll try to talk about it.
Don't fall asleep while you're telling stories.
I'm just, I know I can do this.
Start with the
But I can do it.
You see the thing, look at them. They all want you to succeed.
All right.
Everybody, cheer them on. Oh, no, no.
I'm gonna inhale liquid during this.
So good. Feel the glitter.
Okay, so I'm gonna take my wig off for this. So not that long ago, actually, strange disappearances kept happening at this beach. Now, this was a pretty popular beach, known to many people, and people who've gone there for years and years have known about these waves that will just sweep people away off to like maybe another beach, and whenever people disappear from that beach, nobody thinks about it. Until a while ago, where there have been disappeared because the people who have swept away by the waves have been found on the beach. But in these cases, they haven't been finding live people. They've been finding dead bodies. So what is known to be happening is the people that have gone there for years and years have told legends of mermaids that would trap and kill their victims, then send them along the waves, just like they were swept away there and were missing. People noticed the disappearances. They didn't think much about it because of the waves. Now, oh.
We're still doing.
All right. I mean, the people who've been there for a while have tried bringing it up to the place that, oh, maybe it's the mermaids, because other people, like people who maybe gone there for the first time, thought they were seeing tails. And many people just pass on, just seeing things. It's all fine. It's just the waves, or it's probably just what are those sea creatures that fly out of the water and stuff? Whales.
Those things from Mario.
I was gonna say whale. They thought it was like whale tails or something. But they just kept thinking it was that. It's not nothing new. I mean, until someone actually survived one of these attacks, they were able to escape safely, and they ended up alive on the beach, missing a leg actually. No one ever actually thought different about this because they couldn't hear the screams. The ocean is just like space. There's no gravity, and you can't hear the scream. Ever. Because I mean, space is nothing. But I mean, like he screamed and inhaled a lot of air or water. That's what's in the ocean. Water. Yeah. But he inhaled a bunch of water and swept to another beach, actually 5 miles off. Like, actually not a beach, an island. He got his way to an island. He evaded sharks, other mermaids, and a giant whale. He found his way to another beach. Eventually, some people saw him, some people saw him, called like a Coast Guard or something, had them rescue him, and he told the story to the police. Now, the police still didn't think nothing of it because they thought, oh, maybe a shark who just accidentally got him, and he didn't realize that. But he told the Coast Guard, and he actually had a bunch of people who knew about the mermaids on his side, and they eventually believed him. They believed him and the other people. The Coast Guard went down there, sending only a couple people at a time. Now, they would go missing. Like they would never be found. By the end of this, they would never be found. They've been presumed dead, probably at the bottom of the ocean. But it's not mermaids. It never was mermaids. Everybody thought it was mermaids because they kept seeing tails. It was really the ocean and the reflection of the sun. But what it really was is a very tiny megalodon that ended up surviving. And the Coast Guard kept sending people. Eventually it was caught. It broke free. You decide what happens next.